I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of dancing daffodils. Along the lake, beneath the trees, 10,000 dancing in the breeze.
Hello, I'm Elaine Fisher and I'm the Lakes Coach, and I'm absolutely delighted today to be in the fells above Grasmere, which inspired the poetry of William Wordsworth. And I'm here again with my great friend Jo.
Hi everyone, you might know me from the village hall, the posture sessions and the dance sessions there. Loving being outside today with Elaine and learning some facts and stuff about William Wordsworth, and William's joining us. Willow even is joining us today to enjoy our adventure. Hope you enjoy it.
Fantastic. Today we're in the fells above Grasmere, and from here we can look down and around the landscape that inspired much of William Wordsworth's work. He was passionate about nature, the landscape and preserving a way of life. You can see there Grasmere and Loughrig Fell, and we come around and you can see the actual village of Grasmere and the church of St Oswald. And as we move around you can see the wonderful mighty Fairfield, and also as we walk along today we'll be talking about Stone Arthur and Greenhead Gill, and also the fells of Seat Sandal. And as we go around you can see Helm's Crag, and you can also see there Jo and Willow waiting for us to set off. And we're standing on a fell on the way up to Silver Howe. Wordsworth called this whole landscape the loveliest spot man has ever found, and I think we can agree with him. So today we're going to talk about William Wordsworth quite a lot. He was born in the 1770 and he became poet laureate, and he's known as the nature poet, and a lot of his poetry was inspired by this landscape. And today we'll be looking at what he thought about nature, what he thought about preserving this landscape and protecting it for the common man, but also how he was really keen on looking after how ways of life, ways of working I should say, people. So, and his first house when he came to Grasmere was down there in Dove Cottage,
just beyond, like, where the road goes away from the church.
Yes, and you can really see St Oswald's Church, which is where William, Dorothy all talk about, and Mary's wife and children are buried.
Oh, okay. Well, do you know, I don't know a lot about William Wordsworth, I'm embarrassed to say, but I'm looking forward to learning more. So should we start at his house?
Yeah, excellent idea.
Brilliant, let's do it.
So as we set off walking, Jo, one of the lovely things about Wordsworth and his sister Dorothy is that they love to walk. And they, you know, he was inspired when he was walking. But Dorothy was walking all the time, an exceptional walker. And in her journal, she talks about walking up Scarfell
Wow.
Pike. So we know she's one of the earliest women mountain walkers.
Oh, I like that. That would have been quite unusual, would it? In those days, I would imagine.
I'd imagine so, wouldn't you? In that kind of clothes. And so we can set off on the right foot today, knowing that, is that cheesy? Knowing that we're walking where
in their footsteps.
In their footsteps, where William and Dorothy would have walked.
You can see why they were inspired, can't you?
Yes. And that over there, is where Easdale Tarn is. It was one of their favourite places.
Oh,
so
that's a lovely walk, isn't it, from Grasmere to Easdale Tarn?
It is. So we'll hasten on to Grasmere. Well, Jo, we're now getting down into Grasmere. So a bit about Wordsworth, William Wordsworth. He was actually born in 1770 in Cockermouth,
Yeah.
And that was the start of the Industrial Revolution, so it feels a long time ago. And he was orphaned when he was about 9, and he and his brothers were sent to Hawkshead School.
Yeah.
But his sister Dorothy was sent off to a family in Yorkshire. And so he then, from Hawkshead, went to Cambridge, and then he went round Europe. So he didn't really see Dorothy all that time he was growing up. And he came into Grasmere when he was 29, and he bought Dove Cottage, which we'll see in a minute, and then brought Dorothy over, and Dorothy came with her to Dove Cottage. So when he was 29, William moved to Dove Cottage with his sister Dorothy, and this is one of their happiest places.
It's really pretty, isn't it?
Really pretty, and they absolutely loved the garden, the position, and his poetry then really changed to include nature and the landscape. And also, Dorothy wrote this fantastic journal called Grasmere Journal.
Yeah.
That's really lively, and it really talks about the garden, it talks about the landscape and all their walks they did in detail. And William's poetry is obviously really influenced by the journals. And some people do say that today they might be co-authors of the poems that he's really famous for.
Oh, wow.
So it's really lovely cottage.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Really lovely garden. And Jo, I think you're going to read us a little bit of a poem.
I'm going to read a little bit out of the poem called To a Butterfly. Here we go. This plot of orchard ground is ours. My trees they are, my sister's flowers. Stop here whenever you are weary and rest as in a sanctuary.
That's lovely. And I think this really was a sanctuary for them.
Yeah.
Where they could create and write a lot of that poetry.
Yeah, how lovely.
They're walking through past Dove Cottage and towards Grasmere. And Jo, can you see those daffodils?
Oh, it's so lovely. Absolute gorgeous colour, isn't it? Really bright and cheery. Willow's on her lead. If anybody's wondering where she is now, we've got her safely on her lead away from the road. But that pop of colour just against the still, you know, no leaves on those trees is just lovely.
So we're moving away from the busy road and into some gorgeous countryside. And Wordsworth was the nature poet. He loved nature, but it was far more than just scenery to him.
Yeah.
He said things like, let nature be your teacher. He thought it was about health and well-being. And he also said it was about moral health in a way.
Yeah, interesting that, isn't it? That actually it is what we worry about and what we think about and what we strive for. Is it all just meaningless, really, when you kind of think all of this can give you fulfillment? Just, I don't know, and I can't even, it's hard to explain, but you know, you're drawn to nature and it uplifts you in a way that no amount of material items, goods will do. And, you know, you and I have seen this view a few times. We're lucky, we're fortunate to be able to see that, but it's still new, it's still different, it's still, we've still gone, wow, look at that, look at that, look at that. And it never fails to give you that boost, that excitement, that fulfillment, and it costs nothing.
Yes, yes, and especially if you remember the last time we were out, the village hall.
What a different day.
How many layers did we have on?
Yeah.
And
so nice today. It's warmth on your back. It's just feels so like you're taking a big sighing breath of relief that we're getting that some of that warmth and sunshine again. Like I'm just noticing the lion and the lamb there on top of. I don't know whether anybody joining us today will recognise that or have heard of that.
Just to give a close-up of Helm's Crag, people often call this the lion and the lamb. When we do guided walks, we often stop and have a look and say, can you actually see the lion and the lamb? Some people see a lady playing the piano, so it's really nice on a clear day like today to have a look and see what you can see on the hilltop there. And Jo, we talked about what a difference it was since the last time, and spring is definitely here. We saw all those daffodils.
We did, and the warmth and the air just feels hopeful and just different, and even in our voices, and I've said that a couple of times just between us today, that we're just a bit more energized. Spring really energizes us, even in the way we speak, and this sunshine today is really lifting us, isn't it?
It really is.
Oh,
you walk over the Millennium Bridge, and what a great sign of spring
there.
Look
at that, how lovely. How cute.
How
they're quite big, aren't
they? Is that, some of them fast asleep,
enjoying the
some
sunshine.
of them bouncing around. Let's see if we get a bit closer. And lambs, near me there are so many lambs. As you get higher up in the fells, it's still a bit early for some.
Yes.
But this is just lovely, isn't it?
It's really nice. Nice that actually here in Grasmere on this wall, that's so close to the village, that you don't have to go very high up to enjoy, well, the lambs that we've just stumbled across, but just the mountains around us. We're having a real spring experience, and we're really not having to go too far.
No, that's wonderful.
I like that about the
I think I'm going to apologise to everybody that I'm going to put lots of lamb pictures in, so we'll not stop here, or we'll stop here and have a look.
I wonder if their tails will start to quiver. You know, when they do their little tail
and
thing.
a little jumpy thing.
Oh.
So, that is just so lovely. Hello. So we reluctantly leaving the lamb, but what's joyful here as well.
Come on, Willow. Willow wants to stay looking at the lambs.
We've got this river here, which is just wonderful. And it's not just what we're looking at, is it? It's the noise too.
There's a lot of life and energy, isn't there, around. It's lovely. We can hear children playing outside, so they're probably relieved to be outside and able to be in the fresh air, and we can hear the river. The birds are singing. There's just a lot of buzziness, isn't there, in the air?
And it's so vibrant.
Yeah,
isn't it?
It really is.
Let's just going to have a look at the river. You talked last time when we were waiting for spring about about almost like the mutedness of everything.
Yeah.
And this is just lovely, isn't it?
Yeah. The sharpness of the light on the water is just, that's different, isn't it?
Isn't it? It's really clear. I don't know if I can capture how clear that river is.
Oh yeah, look at that.
How wonderful is that? You start to see bluebells and garlic coming through.
And actually at this time of year, speed in which things start to sprout and
Yes.
grow. You're probably noticing that at home, maybe in your own gardens or on your windowsills. It's like every day there's something new to look at. I love that about spring.
I love that about spring as well. So we're walking out towards Helm's Crag now, and it's such a lovely day, isn't it? Look at that blue sky.
Yeah, it's so nice to grab a
Yeah.
bit of time, even just thinking about how it is hard to make time, isn't it, to get.
Yeah.
And even we doing this,
Yeah.
it's been a challenge, hasn't it,
Yeah,
to actually go,
together.
no, we've got to make time to do this, and you're trying to sometimes squeeze time outside in.
And it's so good for your health.
Yeah.
And the Worldwide Fund for Nature,
Right.
I think it is, all the adverts out at the minute, and they're saying get out in nature for 20 minutes a day.
Yeah.
And that can be your park, it can be your garden.
Yeah.
It can be just breathing outside air, isn't it?
Yeah.
We know how lucky we are to live here.
Yes.
And I did read somewhere, though I think it's much better to get outside, that even looking at pictures of nature or looking at your plants.
Yeah, and it's finding something. It doesn't have, and even, don't let 20 minutes be a barrier to you not doing 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Because often we'll kind of think, well, being realistic, how am I going to, you might think, how am I going to find 20 minutes? I've got this to do, I've got really more important priorities. But what if, with the kids say, let's just all go and notice something, or 4 things that we can see outside.
Yes.
Let's name them, and then let's get back in and get on with the homework or making the tea or whatever it is you've got to do. Some of us have got more time, some of us haven't. But see if we can include it in some way.
Really good point, Jo. I'm just going to have a look up there because we're going to go up there.
Wow, we're getting some mountains, aren't we now?
Yes. I'm starting to move up the hill. Apologies to everybody if we've got a lot of sunlight here. And we're coming up to a big house called Allen Bank. And when it was first built, Wordsworth absolutely hated it. It's up on the hill.
Gosh,
He called it
anybody hating that.
I know.
Can you?
He called it the Temple of Abomination because it was such a big thing, and that he was very worried about losing the landscape.
Yeah.
But because at Dove Cottage, where we said so many people visited, and then his family was getting bigger, he had to move into it. It was the only house available, so he moved in. And they've got an exhibition on at the moment about Wordsworth as the first influencer, because he was one of the first people to talk about that the land shouldn't just be for the wealthy, it should be for everybody to enjoy, and they should make a national property out of the land. And what was interesting as well is that, after the Wordsworths left, they went down to the parsonage, and 100 years pass, or Canon Rawnsley moved into the house, bought the house, and he eventually left it to the National Trust, but he was the co-founder of the National Trust.
Wow. So it kind of, Wordsworth, it's like he almost planted a seed there.
Yeah, and the National Trust obviously set up for protecting property and green spaces, for relaxation and resilience and all that kind of thing.
That comment about Wordsworth, wanting not just for wealthy people, and you kind of think, in a way, it's really, the land is worked by real people, and always has been, hasn't it? And still is.
Yes.
And we mustn't forget that.
Yeah, and he was very very supportive of that.
Yeah.
And one of the first ones to be supportive of that, but this idea of a national property of the land, it's quite a new idea that everybody wants to protect the land. And it's also so, should we move?
Yeah.
It's so hard to protect the land. We preserve it nowadays, don't we? Shall we just move around?
Yeah.
There's lots of people about today, which is lovely. So we're talking about this Wordsworth idea of a national property, like protecting particularly the lakes. And we have 17 million visitors to the lakes. every year. And it really resonates today. People are really keen to protect the environment, aren't they?
Yeah.
You can hear that noise. It's Willow dragging a stick.
Do you want to show everybody your stick, Willow? I've just found a really noisy big stick. Very nice. Well done. I think that's going to come with this for a bit.
Oh, sorry about that. So when you've got 17 million people, you do think if they love the lakes or if they love the countryside, if they get outside, they will protect it too.
Yes.
And that's one of the really important bits about getting people outside, I think,
Yeah.
to enjoy nature.
Yeah.
Because it takes a lot to protect the landscape.
Yeah.
Or the planning, or the
Yeah.
rights of way. It doesn't. You can't. It's not something that's just left, is it?
No. No. It's managed. It's, excuse me. Negotiate. Oh, we've dropped the stick. We're yeah. You don't always appreciate what goes on like this. Stunning. What's
Oh, sorry. So we've got Helm Crag there.
Yeah.
I can see my finger.
Yeah.
Then we've got Seat Sandal.
Okay.
Which is beautiful. And behind Seat Sandal, the mighty Fairfield.
Yeah.
And then you have Stone Arthur. And then you've got the mighty Fairfield again coming back down there.
Oh.
Wonderful, isn't it?
I'm really rubbish at remembering mountains, and you're really good at remembering them. So when I was just kind of, it's nice to know. I like it. I like knowing, even though you'll probably ask you this question again.
They've got some wonderful names though, haven't
they?
Dollywagon Pike.
Yeah.
Sunday Crag.
Yeah.
Like really lovely names.
Like who named the mountains?
Who named the mountains? So we've just turned around to see Stone Arthur right in front of us there, and then you can see Greenhead Gill coming down there, and you can see Michael's Nook and Michael's Fold.
Yeah.
And this is really relevant for today because Wordsworth wrote a poem called Michael. And we've talked about Wordsworth being the nature poet. We've talked about him wanting to preserve the landscape.
Yeah.
But it's also preserve the landscape because of the way of life.
Yeah.
And he was very keen that people recognised the importance of what we call the common man, the working man on the fields, and the way of life that preserved the landscape. Because in that day, in early 1800s, it wasn't recognised, which is really hard to imagine now.
Yeah.
And he could see this way of life really going because of the Industrial Revolution, railways being planned to come into the Lake District, the big houses, the mill owners coming in.
Yeah.
And he saw that this way of life was being lost. So he wrote the poem Michael, and I get really emotional when I even talk about the poem.
Yeah.
So, and it's about an old shepherd, Michael, who his wife Isabella, and they've got one son, Luke. And he takes Luke out to the bottom of Greenhead Gill, and he wants to build a sheep pen with him. So he puts the first rock down, but he has to ask Luke that to go to the city because Michael has to honour a family debt. It's not his debt; it's a family debt. It's a very long poem. So Luke agrees, goes off to the city, but then he gets pulled into vice, and he gets pulled into wayward ways, and he's too ashamed to come back. So Michael never sees his son again, and they never build the sheep pen. But also when he dies, and then Isabella dies, that it's all redeveloped. So nobody ever knew that he lived, and the only thing that's left is the few rocks that they put down when they started the sheep pen. So there's that whole, because of the big city and the colour of it.
Drew the youngster away.
So it's such a very poignant poem.
Yeah.
And Jo, you're going to read a little bit.
I'm going to read a little bit of it. It's called Michael, a Pastoral Poem. If from the public way you turn your steps up the tumultuous brook of Greenhead Gill, you'll suppose that with an upright path your feet must struggle in such bold ascent. The pastoral mountains front you face to face, but courage, for beside that boisterous brook the mountains have all opened out themselves and made a hidden valley of their own.
We're actually walking up to where we started on the top,
Yeah.
which was up Silver How.
It's
Really pretty.
been a lovely walk. You always ask me lots of questions. I know that's your job, but and it is, you can't assume that what spring is to one person is the same, or to me is the same for another person. And so, Elaine Fisher, what is spring to you?
I absolutely love spring. I think spring's my favourite season.
Yeah.
And I think it gives me a huge amount of energy. I just get this surge of energy.
Oh.
Because it's just like almost everything coming back to life.
Yeah.
And actually it can be quite stressful because you think, oh, sunshine.
Yeah.
I need to get out.
To do things. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get out and do things. But it's hope actually.
Yeah.
I just feel so much hope. And you kind of see the colours of the daffodils, but you start to see the buds coming through on the trees.
Yeah.
And when you first get the first leaves on the trees, they're so green.
Yeah.
It's like a baby green.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a colour. And it's just, everything's just full of possibility.
Yeah. So it excites you.
Really does.
It's funny what you were just saying there then about, the first leaf, and Jim and I, husband and I, were in the garden, and there was one flower that had just come on a cherry tree.
Oh.
And we were saying to one another, we'd be happy with just that one flower.
Yes.
It's so beautiful and so like, wow. And it's because like you said, because we've not seen any colour or anything before, or for ages.
Yes.
And I don't need more than that.
Yes.
All the flowers are going to give me more than that. And then you almost just get a bit complacent in the summer that, everywhere's full of flowers. Like, there is like a real special difference about this time of year. It's like, it's surprising you, it's waking you up. You kind of think, well, what's been dormant in me? Where have I been asleep this winter? What have I been asleep with, and what's waking up now in me? And it's different for all of us.
So we're just getting back to the top, and let's just show the view of the open fells.
Stunning. I'm going to ask you another fell question now, Elaine. What we're looking at. Go on.
We've got Helm Crag, and then I think that's up to Eastdale. And what you might not realise, I'll put my finger back in the picture.
Yeah.
In the middle of there is a really big lake.
Huh?
So it's Eastdale Tarn.
Yeah.
It looks like Eastdale Tarn. I think it's Tarn Crag ahead of them, and Calf Crag, and then down to Steel Fells behind it. And then if you go up left, it goes up to Blee Crag. We ran along there once, and we ran all the way to Silver How.
Did we?
Yeah.
Wow.
And they were tricky ones. That was a good ask. But
they're so beautifully lit, aren't they, today?
Yes, absolutely wonderful.
Sometimes they can look quite flat, but everything's visible. Is that where we started?
Yeah, up the top there. Let's kind of come round it. Well, we've got to the top, back where we started, and we've had a really wonderful day, and I hope you've enjoyed it.
It's been lovely to share a bit of the landscape and the Lake District with you today, and it's been lovely to hear your comments as we go along today and share any observations that you've got about your spring and our spring that we're sharing with you. And we really look forward to seeing you again on another Lake District adventure.
We do, and hopefully you could see the lakes through the eyes of Wordsworth. Only 300 years ago.
Yeah, that's been interesting. Thanks, Elaine, for that.
See you again.
Bye.
Bye. For oft when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude, and then my heart with pleasure fills, and dances with the daffodils.